we're covering a big subject, influencing, so we can only focus on one part of that. But I would say for me, it is probably the most important thing, which is actually, the golden rule, talk about them rather than at them about you. And I think that's often a mistake that we can make is that we are so excited about what we've got to put forward that we become a broadcast, a bit like a megaphone broadcast. And actually, people don't respond well to that. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the psychology that there is involved in that when we do that. And I'll be honest with you, even though I train this stuff and talk about this stuff all the time, I still find myself falling into the same traps if I'm not really conscious and thinking about it. So, if nothing else, you may very well know this, a lot of this, but if nothing else, you become much more aware of it again, makes you a bit more conscious. So, first quick thing in the chat, just to make sure it's all working and everybody's up for the challenge. What is the single most annoying thing when a colleague does try to persuade you on something? So, in the chat, what is the single most annoying thing that a colleague does when they're trying to persuade you to do something? So, that's our first little challenge for you. Drew's going to be on the chat. Um, and by the way, Drew and Emily are coaches, facilitators, and actors. So they're going to do some acting today, as well as help us with facilitating the session. And most of you, if you've done any of our courses, will know Drew quite well, I think. Right, let's see what comes up in the chat. So, what's the single most annoying thing? Drew, are we getting any comments?
Couple coming in now, yeah.
Okay, do we want to start reading them out?
Right. So Justin says when they send you load of documents to blast you with data slash info,
Yes, that's so annoying.
or
Yeah.
when they talk too fast at you and give you too much information at once, maybe I don't know. Just a little nod to Deb there. Caroline says not listening to my concerns or viewpoint. Annelle says some sort of excuse. Anna not listening to what the actual problem is of what I'm trying to achieve. Rosie last minute request before home time. Jessica says propose a lot of work without telling the benefits for the individual or the team.
Mm,
Charlotte says telling you what you think rather than asking. Ronki says when they have no consideration for how it impacts on me.
yeah.
Matthew asking for your support. Asking for support was something unachievable in a time frame, but then trying to convince you it's okay and won't accept your argument. And finally, Eve says dismissing your experience or viewpoint, acting as if they acknowledge it when in reality it's just lip service.
Yeah, it's interesting. Quite, I mean, there's lots of different things there, but there does seem to be a bit of theme around really not understanding you or not listening to you or not appreciating your time and also how you like to get information. Seems to be coming across quite a lot here. And I think that makes complete sense, doesn't it? Isn't it funny how we all want to be heard, yet we find it difficult to actually hear or focus on someone else? It's a bit like, a real sort of, anomaly in terms of an enigma in terms of human behavior. Anyway, so we do need to work really hard. I think if we think about win-win, we want influence and we've got to actually focus much more on our listening and sort of what we're talking about today. All right, then. So to kick us off, we're going to start with the actors and we're going to play a little game, really, a bit of a game with you. Let me just launch my slides again so I can set this up. And Drew's going to explain a bit more about his point of view in this. So, this is what we call forum theatre, although strictly speaking, it's not what we do if we were doing it face to face, but it's a good sort of fallback when we're doing something like this. And what's happened is this is a generic situation, and this is the situation. So, Drew, do you want to just explain a little bit more about what you're trying to do here in this sort of meeting you're having with Emily, the Zoom meeting you're going to have with Emily?
We've got a client presentation on Friday. It's more like an event, a client event, really. But there'll be a presentation happening. It's a chance to network with the client, ask questions, and fundamentally pitch a new product towards them. And me and the team have sort of designed a custom brochure for the event and a custom presentation pack for it as well. So it's all ready, it's designed, it's ready to go. It just needs to go to the printers. But we have a company policy that states it has to go for a formal 2 week review through our head of brand and communications, and the event's on Friday. So if it goes through the review, I'm going to miss the event basically. It was quite last minute. It sort of happened very quickly. So we haven't had time to go through the proper due diligence with with in terms of what the process is. But the work's been checked. It's very good. I know it's worked, so hopefully I can just get Emily to sign it off for me there and then, so we can move on and have it printed for our event.
Okay. And Emily, what about you? What's your viewpoint? Just kick off the session. It's gonna
I'm a very big stickler for the rules, and I believe that it needs to go through the 2 week due diligence to make sure that it represents us as a business properly.
Okay, so we're set up for an interesting session. So what I want you guys are the flies on the wall. So you're going to be, if you like, after this, you're going to be able to give feedback and support and help and coaching to Drew. So the idea is watch him very carefully and also watch how Emily reacts as well, because that might give you some clues. See how it goes. Comments in the chat about how you think it's going. And then off sort of so far in, I'll time it out and we'll give Drew a chance to read your advice and thoughts and we'll see what we think. And then Drew will get another chance, hopefully, to get Emily on side. But who knows? He might be successful first time. We'll see. So Drew, do you want to just pin you and Emily?
Drew, thanks for popping in. Look, I've had a brief look, and look, I know you're busy. I've looked over the request to skip the 2 week brand review for your event brochure, and the answer, I'm afraid, is no. You'll need to submit it through the standard review queue like everyone else.
Right, but with the event's Friday, Emily, so it's not gonna. It can't go through the 2 week review. It needs to be signed off today.
Unfortunately, that's the policy, and I'm not willing to sign off on it.
Right, but it's just a 2 page brochure. It's just a simple 2 page brochure. It's nothing. It's not War and Peace or anything like that. Could
Look,
you
everyone
want to have
tells
a look at
me
it now, or
no, everyone tells me that it's a simple brochure, and it's me that looks bad in the end when there's a mistake. So absolutely not.
right?
There's no room for negotiation here.
Well, no, but there is because we've got the event on Friday. You're telling me you'd rather not have any materials for this event.
If it means
That's
protecting,
less embarrassing than having maybe a misprint or something like that, is it?
absolutely, I'd rather protect the
You'd
image of
rather
the
protect
business.
yourself, is what you're saying, normally, isn't it?
Well, at the end of the day,
My director has already approved this design, so just do your job and sign it
yes,
off, please.
yes. Well, the director's not the one that gets it in the neck and has their job on the line if it goes wrong, Drew. So
Well, they are. We all are. We're a business that's trying to sell products. We've got a client meeting on Friday. Don't pull that face at me.
my job.
Don't be sarcastic with me, Emily. There's no point. I'm trying to get some help from you, and you're sitting there with a face like a slapped ass. I'm not going to accept it.
Wow,
Right? Can you not just take a 2 minute glance at this brochure and sign it off, please? It's an extremely important client event. I
absolutely
know you
not
do your
now.
little internal processing stuff, but this is the real business end of the business. So please, can you sign it off, please?
Drew, just repeat back to me what my job title is.
I don't care. Do your job. Sign off on this event.
All right, I'm going to step in and stop this before the relationship is damaged forever. So it's ended up not even being about the brochure. We've now got a situation where we've got conflict as well. And let's see what everybody's saying in the chat box in terms of feedback. Emily, are you okay?
Um, do you know what? It's just water of a duck's back.
Right, Drew. So just breathe. So Drew's going to sort of take his hat off for a second, just as he reads the chat. So he's going to come out of character, just so you know. So that's not this is the real Drew back. He'll tell
Split
you when he's
personality syndrome is what it is. That's what happens. I'll
yeah.
tell you.
Okay, what have we got then, Drew?
Eve says Drew is passing the blame on rather than acknowledging that he should have had it ready earlier. Suzanne says Drew could have explained the reason behind the brochure coming to Emily now instead of 2 weeks ago. Drew's raising his voice, making him uncomfortable. I think the relationship has been damaged. He's being very dismissive, not listening to her concerns, dismissing her viewpoint, getting personal and insulting. Drew should have simply taken ownership and showed up with a very different energy. He was getting angry and confrontational, basically making it her problem versus owning his mistake and being last minute. Drew didn't give time to Emily to explain what was important about the event. and brochure and the benefit of the company and how Emily could help very quickly turned into an argument and heads butting. Conversation started with flat no from Emily and no room for manoeuvre. Needs compromise from both sides.
Whew. Well done, Drew. Right. Okay. So you take that feedback on board. Right. So what do you want, Drew? Because you're going to have another go, aren't you? We're going to go back in time. This is a great thing. By the way, hi, Karen. Nice to see you. I know you just joined. So we're going to go back in time because we have the magic of theatre, because we can do that. A Groundhog Day. Here we go. Drew gets a chance to do it again. So, Drew, what do you need from the audience?
Yeah, I mean, this is your chance to. So we get, like you said, Deb said, run it again, like Groundhog Day. Except you guys are now the directors of the scene. I need some advice about what to do differently, and when I say advice, I mean very specific advice on what I should do differently. So either chuck it in the chat, or if you want to put your hand up and say it out loud, it's that completely up to you. But yeah, what should I do differently? How should I start the conversation? What's the way I should go into that conversation? Justin, you got your hand up.
Hey, if I was you, I'd be owning it up front, explaining, "Hey, look, I think I've been a bit last minute, but can we have a chat? I need some help on this, and here's the situation. How can we work together?" Something like that.
Yeah, because at least that's acknowledging the fact that it's not Emily's fault. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that's one idea.
Justin, can you do me a favour and take your hand off there? Perfect. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. So own the fact that I'm a bit last minute. I mean, it's the last minute because the client was last minute. But yeah. Okay. I'll own that and explain that to Emily. Anything else?
Put it in the chat if you don't want to speak up. Yeah, yeah, good, Caroline.
Caroline.
You want to get her to collaborate with you, so somehow we're on the same side in this. How can you help me?
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. So bring Emily into the problem
Yeah,
rather than make her the problem
we're in
itself.
this
Right.
together.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Magdalena says, carefully listen to Emily's concerns and offering her support.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Bearing in mind, the whole session is about talk to them about them, not at them about you. Yeah. So maybe finding out a bit more about what's going on for Emily. Because I don't think we know anything about Emily and why she's being so, it looks like she's being stubborn and difficult, but we know nothing about why that is, do we? Go on, Dan.
Dan.
Um, is there some kind of compromise? Is there some material that already exists that Emily has in her folders that could be used instead of starting something fresh? Like, I think just a conversation needs to be had rather than fighting with each other.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. You're right. And maybe there could be some sort of compromise if only we'd actually have the conversation. Yeah.
Hmm. Is it Ronke or Ronk?
It's Ronke, yes, Ronke.
Ronke. I got it right first time. I'm going
Oh,
to
you
celebrate that.
did.
Sorry. Yeah,
Thanks
okay,
very much. That's fine.
good.
I think acknowledging also the impact it has on her, that there's a huge impact that she's obviously feeling. So hearing that and bringing empathy to that.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. So there's some really nice suggestions there, certainly about creating a better environment at the beginning from which to have this conversation. Because if I don't know whether you noticed, but it got derailed very quickly because Drew got all defensive, which then made Emily go defensive. Behavior breeds behavior. And this is quite an extreme situation.
Not pulling faces at me, to be fair, Deb. I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to defend myself a little bit here. She's pulling like teenage girl faces at me. What am I supposed to do? Not react.
Yes, not react.
Like she went. That's how. Do you know what I mean? That's how a 12-year-old looks at you when you say like what you think is cool. I don't need that in my business. My business life. I don't need it. I get enough of it outside of it.
Yes, but you can't react to it because it's not going to serve you, is it?
Just
It's not going to
rude.
serve you. I
Well,
mean,
do you know what I mean? Just rude.
you've got to think, Drew, would you talk to a client like this if a client was difficult and pushed back? Anyway, Justin said something as well, I think.
Well, Charlotte said something first. We'll read that out, and then we'll
Okay.
come to what Justin said, and it's not held back. So it's asked what could be the compromise to work together and achieve results. Note, we'll follow the process going forward. Justin says, in summary, he was being a bit of, and forgive me for blunt language, a dick. Not professional in the workplace. Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Okay,
Okay.
fair enough. Yeah.
I think that's a good place to sort of end the conversation in terms of getting your feedback. Do you have enough up your sleeve, Drew, to have another go?
Yeah, I think so. What I would say is, if while I'm doing it, if you see something that you think, oh, I can add to that, or something you want me to do differently, stick it in the chat. Or if you really, really just hate what I'm doing, put your hand up and I'll come to you and you can give me the specific advice on how to do it differently.
Yeah, so you just tell him
Okay?
to stop if it's getting too
Yeah.
much. Okay, let's have a little go at
I'll
this.
try my best. I'll try my best.
We'll do 5 minutes of this anyway. Right. Okay, over to you
Right,
then,
so
Drew. Good luck.
just to clarify, we're going back in time, aren't we, Deb? I've not got to
Yes.
apologise for our
No,
behaviour.
no. No, you're going back in time. It's like Groundhog Day. You woken up on a whole new day. Yes.
I don't do apologies, so
Oh.
Hi Drew, yeah, sorry. Thanks for having this meeting. Look, I'll try and keep it brief because obviously I know you're busy. I have had a little look over your request to skip the 2 week brand review.
Mhm.
But to be honest with you, I'm sorry, but the answer is no. You will need to go through that 2 week process.
Okay. The thing is, Emily, the event was on Friday. I know it's a bit last minute, and we probably should have, like you said, we should have been meeting that 2 week review process. But the client booked the event late anyway, and then has made changes like within the last week, and there was just nothing we could do to get it done earlier. I was hoping maybe we could. Sorry, I spoke over you there.
I was just going to say, I do understand that it's frustrating, but rushing materials out the door is how embarrassing mistakes happen, and I'm not willing to risk it.
Right. So what can we do to get this done? Because I fundamentally we need these materials for this event. So what do you need from me to make it right for you?
Honestly, whenever someone asks to bypass the brand review, quality control completely goes out the window, and I'm just really concerned that this is going to happen again.
Right. Well, do you want to see the materials? I've got them to hand. They are completed and designed. They're ready to go. We've had sign off from our director, from our team. Obviously, I know that doesn't mean much to you and what your process is, but would you like to see them? Just have a quick check if they even fit in what you think would be considered of quality.
Look, the thing is, it takes more than a few minutes to check that, that's why these things do fall through the cracks.
Right, well, Emily, what can I do to get to make this work? Because I can't take no for an answer today. So I'm willing to obviously I can go do the extra work that you need, but what can I do to make this work?
Well, I'm just coming off, just going to come off and time it out. And you were doing so well, but I think there's fundamentally something really important missing that's not come out. I don't know if anybody's put anything in the chat, Drew. Yeah, there we go.
Sorry.
And some empathy, because I think Ron Cave said about having more empathy for her, and she gave you a clue as well. I don't know if anybody else picked up on it. She said, I don't want this to happen again. Did you miss that?
Yeah, I think I was too worried about what I need
Yeah.
and maybe not going into what Emily needed.
Yeah, so I mean, it was much, much better, Drew, much better. But I do think still some of the feedback that you got around really listening, acknowledging her, finding out what's important to her. I mean, I know your questions are much more about you. So what can we do to get this done for me? Rather than what do you need, Emily, here? How can we work? How can I work with you? So I think, yeah, and I think we just had another comment come in on through the chat as well.
Acknowledge that you knew about the process and you could have done things differently to ensure the client was more ahead of the game.
Yeah, so there's that as
Do we
well.
think? I mean, in real one, was there anything I could have done? Is it about saying? I mean, just on that, I think it's Justin. Is it worth owning that much and being that vulnerable?
I think so, because I think you need something from her. She doesn't need you right now. You need something from her. So I think if it was me, I would be just going in and go, look, hey Emily, I want to start this with a huge apology. I've got a big ask. I know that there's this policy and it's going to take a couple of weeks, and this is how you normally do things. But we've had some client delays. I'm really sorry. I could have been a bit more on it, but can we chat about how I might be able to kind of be a part of the process to help whatever, to help get this objective over the line by whenever.
Mm.
I like that.
Something.
I like that, Justin. I like that. And also, I think from based on some of the other feedback, some empathy. I appreciate how hard your job can be and how important it is that we do stick to. There's not been really any acknowledgement of Emily's job. Do you want to have another go, Drew?
Yeah, let's have another go.
Okay, Jessica's just said Emily's concerned that if she lets it through for one person, everybody will want to bypass. There you go. So that's a little bit of insight, perhaps, you know? I mean, we don't know, but yeah.
Okay, let's try it. Let's try
Okay.
it.
And then Kat said about explaining the business reasons. That might come a little bit later down the line. Let's do it a
So,
little bit
should I
more.
continue from where I was? Yeah. Do we think I started well enough to continue from where I
I
was?
think so. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Emily, like I just noticed there's obviously a lot of resistance here, and I understand its process, but is there anything, specifically that makes you so hesitant about fast tracking this print run?
You've got to remember that it's my name on the line. I am the head of brands and communication, and if something gets falls through the cracks like it has in the past, it's me that gets it in the neck.
Right. So have you been burnt? Have you been burnt by fast tracking materials in the past? Then yeah.
Well, yes, I have. And I trusted a team, just like yours, that swore the booklet was ready to print. They rushed it without outdated branding and mistakes. And the team th threw my department under the bus, and I took the hit for the sloppiness. I'm just not putting my reputation on the line again, Drew.
Right. Okay. Blimey. I mean, that sounds like it was a really, really crap situation, Emily. Um, I'm sorry for putting you under that pressure again. That's not where I'm coming from at all. If you, with that in mind, and the fact that obviously there is a problem that we need to solve here with the fact that we have this meet the client event on Friday, and maybe I need to take ownership. Maybe I didn't manage the client well enough and get it so it was had enough time to go for the due diligence. What can be done so both our needs are met, where you're not signing off on something that you don't trust, but we still get what we need? Is there any way we can work together here to solve this?
Well, I'm not taking responsibility for it this time, Drew. So if it's really important and it's something that absolutely is vital to this specific client, then I need something in writing that either your team or the director is going to take responsibility for it, not me.
Okay, so you need us to have like a signed proof that we take responsibility for any mistakes that might be on it. That's 100% we can take responsibility for that. Would you want to see it before? Would you want to have a quick check on it? Because I can assure you that it is of very high quality. It has been through an internal quality process for our team. Would you want to see, because like I said, it is only a two-page brochure. You could have a quick glance at it and see if it meets your eye test. And then if we sign off on it being our responsibility, if there's any mistakes, does that help you feel more confident?
Yes, I think the main thing that I want to check is the logos and make sure that they are the up-to-date ones, as we have recently had an update in our logo. So that would be my main concern. And we could potentially to put it through an AI check for typos.
Okay.
Uh, but like I said, the main thing for me is that you get a letter in writing from your director saying that he will take responsibility if there was a mistake.
Okay, so if why don't I send you the PDF now? You can check the logos and check the anything you need to check, and I will talk to Sam later and get you that sign off by the end of the day, really. And then and hopefully we can get it printed before Friday.
Um, if I have that in writing, then yeah, I will consider it. However, I just want to say that this can't be a recurring situation.
Yeah.
The policy is there for a reason, um, and I want it to be respected in the future by other, not just your team, but other teams.
I completely understand that. I just want to call you back on something you said you'll consider it. Emily, I can't go do this extra can't come to go do the extra work, talk to my director without some guarantees that this is going to go through with those reassurances for you.
I will sign off of it if I've read through it and I can't see any mistakes and you've got your letter from your director.
Okay, perfect. So I'll send you over the PDF now, and then we'll be in contact. I'll give you a call later in the day. That's all right.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Emily.
Okay,
Thanks, Drew.
we'll stop it there. Let's come out of the pin. Thank you, Drew. Now, obviously, that was one route. I think some of you put some other thoughts in the chat as well around the shared objective here. Of course, Drew should actually want it to be the best possible quality it could be. So, is there anything we want to just sort of read out of the chat that sort of adds to the whole thing, Drew? But it was much better this time. Well done. You did actually get somewhere. I think that definitely came from a result of empathy and a bit more listening. But yeah. Anything we need
Yeah,
to add?
Jessica said, isn't the focus more about it being the best quality possible and Emily to help rather than conversation so heavily focused on whose responsibility it is on mistakes and failure and assuming those will happen?
Hmm.
Um, See, that's where, for me, is the quality is high. I've checked it myself. I've done the work. I'm saying yes to Emily's needs because I know they're not going to fail. So it was okay to go that far because I know the quality's high. I do think it's kind of that sort of it's a fine line to balance because you give too much power away, then all of a sudden you're not influencing, you're just appeasing,
Capitulating.
aren't you? Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay.
And then Magdalena says Emily is setting clear boundaries around last minute results, covering reputation, and Drew is really accommodating.
Yeah. And obviously this is a scenario. It's, I'm sure things like this happen all the time. It's a scenario, and we obviously always have a sort of magic wand answer because that's the nature of what we're doing. And it takes a lot more navigating negotiation perhaps than that. But the principles are fundamentally correct. So let's have a quick look now then at some of the thoughts on this. So what you've got is that in terms of influencing and negotiating, there are sort of two key styles. And although it is important to advocate and present and persuade, if it's done from a me-centered place, which is what Drew was doing in round one, and it's all about you and your project and your urgency and your goals, it's a natural thing to do for us. But actually, what it does is put all the stress on the stakeholder, and that means that then they feel equally under pressure and can start digging their heels in, even if they did think it was a really good idea. What happens when we shift to the other style to actually temporarily maybe park our agenda? I'm not saying we let go of it because, as Drew said, we don't want to capitulate. We do want to get something put through, and it was very important to the business in this situation. However, we also have to remember that if we do more listening, that they might come up with a solution or a compromise that we hadn't thought of as well, that could even be better than the original one. But if we start asking questions and we start to have a bit more empathy, we find that we start to move things more. And it's not because we're doing this just to be polite. We're doing it because we're trying to find out a way to move forward. What we want is a win-win where everybody feels happy. And in this situation, I think we've got somewhere at least in the sense that Emily is prepared to be a bit more like, okay, I'm more open to this. And, if we were really going to nitpick on this scenario, lots of things should have happened before we even got to this conversation. But this is the fundamental truth around influencing is that we can often find ourselves doing way too much push and not enough pull. And if we are having to push, we should be pushing about them and not about us. So, what are the benefits to them? How does this help them? How does this involve them or help the business? Are really key things to think about. And then just looking at the psychology of this, because I think this is really interesting. And we've probably all been on the receiving end of this, the TV show effect. When we've watched something or we've read a book or we love something and we're so excited by it, we get really caught up in you've got to watch this, it's amazing. And when someone does that to you, there's something in you as a human that almost wants to ignore it. It's like the instinctive response that we have. And actually, that is called something. It's actually called reactance. And this was coined by a psychologist called Jack Bram. He's a German psychologist. And what it is, when our freedom of choice is threatened through a direct push, it shifts our focus from being open to going into battle. And that is what it is. And it's a human thing. If we have more understanding of this, we can actually start to understand why people do want more autonomy, more involvement in decisions, So when we're influencing, we need to really focus on involving them in it. Stakeholders don't, as it says here, don't reject something because they just want to reject it. They reject it because they're being told what to do a lot of the time. And then this one, honestly, when I looked at this, when I was putting this session together and reminded myself of this, it just really struck home. This thing about how when something becomes our baby, it's our baby. The brochure is Drew's baby. The team is Drew's baby. What we find ourselves doing is really falling into the trap of blindly expecting everybody else to think it's theirs. Do you know, even that thing, you know, that thing when you recommend a restaurant or you're with a group of friends and you go, where should we go to eat tonight? And they go, oh, I don't know. What do you think? And you go, oh, I did this research and I found this really great restaurant. All of a sudden it becomes your baby and you've never been there before. There's no friends of yours working there. There's no real vested, but because you've done the research and you've decided this is a good place to go, all of a sudden it becomes your baby and you find yourself fighting to keep it. It's a really weird thing. And then the other thing that happens is when we start doing this and become really focused, we stop listening. Under stress, our bandwidth, our cognitive bandwidth shrinks, and we're focusing so much on our advocating, putting forward our thoughts, presenting our ideas that we haven't got the room to let the listening in. So if you've got any comments, by the way, or any questions, just throw them in the chat. But this is what we're up against. We're up against, first of all, this psychological reactance and our own baby bias. So two key things there. If you can let go of your baby bias, okay, that's not to say you don't have conviction or belief, or you don't want to fight for what you think is important, but you let it go to start with. And then you understand that people are more resistant when they're told what to do. You can start to make some sense of this, which leads me to a really nice tool. And again, this will probably not come as any real surprise. By the way, I'm going to send you, I'll tell you about this at the end, but I'm going to send you some information that you can refer back to. But the first thing is, and a lot of you actually recognize this when you saw Drew making his mistakes, is to actually stop and think about Emily first. A little bit of acknowledgement. You know, I'm sorry this is so late. You know, we wouldn't normally do this. And I know that it's difficult for you. You're really busy. And I know that you don't like having rush jobs. Just a bit of de-escalation. And by the way, this should be human, real, genuine. Don't just go through the motions. Because you know what it's like when people do that to you. You want to get them by the throat. If we're honest, when people do that, I really understand how difficult things are for you right now. And with all due respect, when anybody starts doing that for me, I stop listening. So it's got to be real. It's got to be owned. Okay? People feel that. And then we'd go into the let's find out what's going on. You know? Drew did do this towards the end. He might not have asked this specific question, which is if we do go ahead with this today, what's the single biggest risk or brand area you'd be worried about? Because Emily probably would have said, if you'd been asked that question, what would you have said, Emily?
I would have said the company's reputation. The last time it happened, it was really embarrassing, and it just made us look really amateur. And then obviously alongside that, my reputation alongside it.
And I think Drew could naturally then have said, well, that's what we both want, Emily. I'm really keen. It's really important to me too, especially with this client that we actually get this right, which is why although we've done it rushed, we've spent a lot of time making sure it's correct. Do you know what I mean? It allows you to then dovetail with what the other person is really focused on so that actually it becomes a collaboration and synergy rather than Drew pushing his baby on Emily and Emily reacting and going, stop pushing me. I'm not going to accept this, which is exactly what happened. And then the other thing is the co-creation. How can we make this work then? If that's the case, what do you need? How can we work together? And again, Drew, you did do this at the end. You did that whole piece around what do you need? How can we work together? How can we actually make sure this works for both of us? So this three-stepped approach is a really great way to start talking to your stakeholders about them than rather than at them about you. 3 key steps. And it will really help to, first of all, de-escalate that reactance. And secondly, for you to, if you can, as much as you can, park this feeling of the baby bias that you have. Just in case, I don't know how whether you're a fan of Richard Branson or not, but there's some really nice quotes. So if you don't take my word for it, here's some thought leaders that feel the same. To be a great leader and influencer, you have to be a great listener. Nobody learned anything from hearing themselves speak. See, that's the other thing is the more we ask questions, the more we learn, the more we're able to then put an informed solution forward. Remember, listening is understanding and learning. Here we've got Sir John Jones, who's a brilliant speaker. If you ever get a chance to watch his TED Talk, by the way, it's absolutely amazing. And you can see that his take on it here is that listening is the toll. It's the toll you have to pay if you want to influence someone. And if you're not prepared to do that, the chances are you're going to have a bit of a battle on your hands. And then finally, Nancy Klein, who again is written some amazing books on human skills and people skills. And you can see here that the quality of your attention determines the quality of other people's thinking. Listening is the ultimate act of influence, she says. I like that one. It's a good one to end on. Okay, so bringing it all back then, we've got time to see another scenario. And this time we're going to show you what it looks like when it's done well. We never say it's perfect, by the way. You will probably watch this and still be able to give feedback if it was someone that you were trying to coach or help in this situation. You can most definitely find feedback. But we're going to show you a better version where some of the things we've talked about are shown. Okay? So in this situation, Drew, do you want to just explain to them what's going on this time? Or actually, Emily, do you? Because it is actually you, Drew's trying to influence again, isn't it? Do you want to tell them a little bit more what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a budget for one of the teams to invest into something that will there'll be proof of the outcome to the business. So I've given the 4 teams an opportunity to pitch their idea to me, and then I'm kind of the gatekeeper to see if I think it's worth spending the money on. So Drew's the first person that I'm having a meeting with, and he's from the sales team, and he has an idea that he wants to spend the budget on.
Drew, do you want to say anything to anybody about your side of things?
Um, I mean, the sales team, we've been quite successful recently. We've just landed a quite a large new account. So the team are in a particularly healthy position in terms of the work they're doing. And the reason what I'm pitching for would directly impact that new contract. So, other than that, that's only context really that you'll need to understand really what's going on. Deb, I'm just going to clarify because we're doing straight to the good version, yeah?
Yes, we're just going to do the good version. I think we've done enough of seeing you do bad, Drew.
Okay.
Let's see you be good and successful.
Hi, Drew. Congratulations on winning the new account. What exciting news that is.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. The team have worked incredibly hard on it, and to be honest, we're all kind of buzzing. It's I feel like it's going to make such a massive difference to our contribution to the business, which is just a lovely feeling. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you really deserve the success. Look, so time is short. Obviously, we're both busy. I did send you an email setting out what I would need for this meeting. So it's over to you. I'm looking forward to hearing what why your team would like that training budget.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to sort of having this conversation. It's quite nice to see. I just want to ask you a question, really, because it must be a real challenge to sort of have a funding decision like this. Can
Mhm.
I ask you what is the most important thing for you when making this choice?
Great question, by the way. So I need, well, it's basically what I said in the email, Drew. So I need a really solid business case. And I just want to know that the money will drive business growth. I mean, I can see that you and your sales team would like a sales masterclass.
Hmm.
Sounds great. But I wouldn't want it to be seen as a reward, for winning the account. So can you give me a bit more information about why you think this training would make a difference?
No, yeah, I mean, I completely understand why it might look like a reward from the outside based on us getting this new contract, but I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's essential so we can service the new account and deliver on those targets and grow year on year. Because I don't know if I've gone too much detail in my report. I have sort of detailed this, but the new account has a potential to double or even triple over the next couple of years. Like I said, it's in the report if you want to have a look a bit more in detail at that.
No, yeah, I saw that. It is very comprehensive, so thank you for that. But what I'm concerned about, Drew, is wouldn't that growth happen naturally anyway?
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point, and yeah, there's definitely going to be some organic growth, but to truly maximise the potential of this new partnership, our people need to be more strategic, and I want them to have impeccable presentation skills, and then to add negotiation skills on top of that. We've got a team of very good people right now, but I want to take them from good to great. I want to be very great. And I'm not going to lie. It is going to be a massive boost for the team around motivation. That's not the reason we're booking it, but that is going to be an effect of it. I'm not going to deny that.
Okay. I mean, it's making sense so far. Um, but the huge concern here, Drew, is that it's so expensive. Can't we do this as an internal, internally instead?
Again, look, I appreciate your question. It's something that I thought about as well. We just don't have the resources internally, or the specialized expertise for this level of training. This is really about upskilling. And look, I had the same reservation about the cost. I did my research in terms of who was the best company. I've spoken to three other companies who've used this provider, and their return on investment was outstanding, like genuinely unbelievable. I mean, I can send you those case studies if it helps you.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Perfect. I mean, look, Emily, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to be too, don't want to be too forward, but I really do believe in this program. Is there any reason why you wouldn't award us the money for this? I don't want to be too direct, but I do want to ask that question.
No, and you know what? I appreciate the bravery in asking. Um, well, I mean, other than the concerns I've already brought up, there really isn't much that would stop me from doing it. I do have to listen to the other teams though. So I will make sure that I let you know by the end of the day.
Okay,
But I
fair
am
enough.
really impressed. I'm really impressed with the report and your commitment. So thank you for that.
Okay, thanks, Emily. I really appreciate your time, and yeah, good luck with such a difficult decision at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.
Be very, very quickly, it'd be really nice just to get anything that you noticed that you really liked in terms of what Drew did. Anything that stuck out for you in terms of what you liked with what Drew did there. So we could get those in the chat because actually they are the sort of golden nuggets, really, in terms of some of the other tools. We obviously talked about the main tool that you could take away from this. Anything that you noticed that you thought, wow, that was really good. I like that. To put it in the chat and let's just see what we get. Got a few minutes that we can.
Justin, you got your hand up.
Yeah, there was an interesting point where you sort of were a little bit presumptuous, but in a good way. You said, "And this is why I am going ahead with it." So but it was gently said, and it was very subtle. So you're sort of planting the seed of it's happening, and you're going to get on board, but in a really nice, gentle way
I like
that
that
didn't you
too.
didn't
Yeah.
really pick up on it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Nice. Again, it's that sort of real belief. Well, because what we're saying here is that we've got to be careful we don't go too far the other way, of course, where it's all about them and not about us. We do have to obviously influence and get things done. It was very important to Drew. He believes in it, believes in his team. So absolutely. Anything else, Drew?
Caroline says acknowledging her points and concerns,
Yeah.
and that's all for now. So I think we've got to play some elevator music and give it a
Uh,
second.
well, actually, I was going to say, acknowledging people's concern, because I also do a lot of sales training. Okay. One of the things I talk to salespeople when they're dealing with objections is to not go through that process as if it sounds like you've said it all before. You know that thing where we go, "Oh, I understand your point of view. That's a really good question." You've really got to, this has really got to be coming from a genuine place. So it's almost like, consciously be present so that when you speak and say those things, it's real. Because otherwise it will sound like a pat. It will sound like something that you've practiced and pulled out to sort of try and deal with the resistance. Okay. Anything else then, Drew? That was sort of, thank you, Ronky. I like the little thumbs up. makes me feel so good.
Nothing yet. People are too busy listening to your wonderful voice, Deb. That's the problem, I think.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, we'll let okay. I'm going to ignore that for sure. Let's just do the final slides, and if anything comes in, we'll pick up on it, Drew, because obviously I
Well,
appreciate
Charlotte's just said now is worked as a team, putting across the point, but also getting Emily's point of view / concerns as well to make her feel valued.
And actually, I've just thought of the other thing. That's a really good point as well. That Emily felt really part of the whole process, really very much involved. It was a sort of co-creation. But I wonder if did anybody notice the clincher question at the end? And because it was quite brave. It's something that it's something you would have up your sleeve. You'd only use it if you felt comfortable. But that whole thing of, is there any reason why you wouldn't do this? Or how do you feel now about doing it? It's like, again, it's almost the close, if you like. But what is really good about that is it gives you an opportunity to catch anything, perhaps at this moment, where she needs more reassurance. And
Yeah,
I teach,
Jessica said,
yeah,
sorry,
go
Deb,
on. Yeah, go
said
on.
Drew had a chance to address Emily's concerns on the call by asking questions,
Yeah.
and that any reason you wouldn't award this, which was great.
Absolutely. And I do another thing I do is I do a lot of coaching with people looking for work and especially young people. And I always teach them to actually ask that question at the end of an interview. Is there any reason why you wouldn't employ me? Honestly, it just opens the door to any sort of interaction where got a second chance, you know? All right, let's just go back to these slides, finish off, because I appreciate you're all really busy and you need a sharp finish. So, um, just think about this. You don't have to do anything in the chat or anything, but just think about one thing you could commit to tomorrow. And this is one that you might want to think about doing, which is the 5 minute rule. So, in other words, you just live for at least 5 minutes. You don't sell, you actually tap into their concerns, a bit of empathy, ask some questions, and only pitch your idea when you feel like you've got a bit more of an understanding what's going on. But think about what you could take away from this session and apply straight away. That's what I would say. What is going to happen next? Well, we're going to send you the recording so you can have another look if you want. If you are really loving the actors, you can have a look at those scenarios again. You could also use the recording to share with your teams. You do not need permission for that. We're really happy. We're not precious like that at all. As long as we're not putting it up on YouTube or anything like that. But if you want to share it with your teams or use it in a meeting or anything like that, you absolutely can. We're going to send you a questionnaire, which is taking it to another place, which is about what is your power? Where's your power when you're influencing? It's a really nice questionnaire that helps you to identify what your sort of strengths are and your power base are. We'll send you the top tips like we did last time. I put our LinkedIn profiles up here. So if you we'd love you to connect with us on LinkedIn. So here's all three of ours. So if you want to take a picture of that, quick screenshot, we'd really like that because we'd like to sort of keep the conversation going, if you like. So feel free to do that. Just a reminder that we obviously do full on face-to-face training on this stuff, virtual training on this, where we do much longer sessions. So I think a lot of you have done our sessions before, but please get in touch if you want to talk about your teams or you want to get a quote or anything like that, obviously. And just to flag up our next session, which is this one, which is knowing yourself, but also understanding others, the power of behavioral agility, whether you're a leader or whether you are a salesperson or customer service, anything. Understanding different styles, and this is based on insights. It's going to be our next session. This one's going to be 75 minutes based on some feedback we got our last session when we asked people what sort of time frame. So it gives us a little bit longer. And Drew is going to be the one facilitating this one. I'm going to take a slightly backward step on this. Drew's going to facilitate. So we're looking forward to that as well. Finally, then, 2 minutes. How did you find the session? Comment in the chat. And then we're out of here. So anything you want to say to us in the chat, we'd really appreciate that. You know what it's like if you're in training and development yourselves or coaching. It's always nice to get some sort of feedback. If you want to say anything to us offline because you think you don't want to put it in the chat, then you've got our email. Just send us to as well.
If anyone has any specific questions for their own experience, whatever, that they couldn't quite
LinkedIn.
answer today or couldn't quite, it wasn't quite covered because it's only an hour, either put them in the chat now or connect with us on LinkedIn and send them us that way. And we will try and answer them. Either we're going to put together a video that answers the questions or a podcast or something along those lines. If you've got any specific questions, just throw them at us either in the chat, email, or LinkedIn.
Lovely, some really nice comments. Thank you. I mean, you know, it's a 60-minute session. It's difficult to think about how we can give you best value. But I think in terms of listening, if it just makes you think a little bit next time, then it's well worth our while. I am a really big advocate of the listening. I'm working on it myself all the time. It is a muscle memory. You have to constantly work at it. But if only we could get the world listening a bit more, it'd be such a better place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we
Thank
need
you.
peace. Peace listens, not peace talks. That's what I
Peace
believe.
listens, not peace talks. Yeah, love that. Thank you very much, Drew and Emily. They give up their time completely free to do this, so really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. And thank you so much for all of you. You made it so much more fun. And we'll see you on the next one in September. Enjoy your holidays and the sunshine and everything else.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
guys. Have a good
Thanks,
rest of
guys.
the day.
Thank you,
Thanks
everybody.
very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Great to be here. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Thank
Jessica.
you.
Bye.
Thanks for
Thank
nice to
you.
see you.